Yo, yo, yo. Hello, what's up? Welcome back to Deckmark TV for our March of the Machines standard deck. And for today's deck list feature, it's one of the sort of a refined version of one of the, we can say, as a tier 1.5 or tier 2 deck from the previous standard format. And we'll be adapting the version for the new cards with March of the Machines set. We have the Golgari Fight Ramp. I've referenced this build from recent results in MTG Melee, also from some of the few user submitted decks in MTG Goldfish. We check in on some new cards, we check on the battles, and also the possible build. So we've come up with this list. We have 3 battles in the deck, 22 creatures, 6 enchantment, of course, with the namesake Fight Rigging, 2 instants for spot removal, 10 for lands. The only Planeswalker in the build needs Ascended Animist with 2 copies and 1 sorcery, with sort of a spicy addition for this one. So what are our creature choices for this? Okay, we go with the card with why we should need to have this kind of lineup. So again, Fight Rigging is a 3-2 cast enchantment, had a wave 5 from Streets of Capena. So at the beginning of combat, every turn you may put a counter on target creature you control, that is a +1 counter. And if you control a creature with power 7 or greater, you may play the exiled cards without paying its mana cost. So the purpose here is that you would need to have a creature with at least 6 power, so that we can have this trigger that will have it up to 7, and then have this trigger resolve to cast that hideaway card for free. So what will be our creature choice? We go first again with a good card here from the same set, Streets of Capena, that is the Shakehound Heavy. So this is a 3-2 cast 6/4 menace creature, Ogre Warrior. That is whenever it attacks, defending player may have you draw a card. If you do, untap Shakedown Heavy and remove from combat. So the purpose here is that you can basically play out Shakedown Heavy and then next turn play Fight Rigging, so you can be able to put a counter on Shakedown Heavy before it attacks, so it becomes 7/5, and at the same time have the hideaway trigger resolved. So gets a free card, you get a +1 counter, and you get a good menace attacker, but with the condition, of course, that you can have you draw a card. So that won't really matter here because we can go that early or go with the mid game with some of the card choices here. So we also have Topiary Stamper as our sort of a mana ramp. So it costs 4/4, but this ability that it could not attack or block unless you control 7 or more lands. It does make sure though you can ramp to your 4th land base this one, and also a very good late game threat. Now for the support of that same strategy for Fight Rigging, we've also added a playset of Archfiend of the Dross. So this is just a 6/6 for 4, but again, because of the purpose of having it up with the counter to make it a 7/7, you get in which we can then cast the hideaway land, hideaway card per se. So the only drawback here with Archfiend is that you could have these foil or counters, in which if you would not have the counter removed already, then it will lose the game in the process. So that's not really a drawback here, since the deck would really curve out well, and having a 7/7 flyer with this ability would not really be a way to close out games as quickly as possible. So with that playset, we've also added the 5-2 cast Shieldred, this new version from March of the Machines. So it has its EdX ability, which you can also benefit by putting it on Fight Rigging hideaway ability. Enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices an non-token creature or planeswalker, and then you can have this exiled by paying 5 exile it, return into the battlefield, transform. The only condition is that you would need to have an opponent 8 or more cards in the graveyard, so probably more of the late game setup, and you can have these 2 scriptures ability triggers, which would be really backbreaking for most of their matchups. Now with the Shieldred added to the list, we also feature Vernclex, the new version. It is a 5-2 6/6 and also a ramp by itself. It enters the battlefield, search library for up to 2 forest cards, which means you can also not only search for a basic forest, but also those of the forest side type, such as that of the Ziatora's Proving Ground, and put them into your hand. Not only that, this is a trample reach for 6/6, but also this ability that pay 8 to exile it to transform into the Grand Evolution. And of course you would have these benefits of the lore counters early on, but the purpose here is that you can have a very good attacker. A 6/6 also trigger Fight Rigging ability by having it 7/7 on the same setup. Now, for only 2 copies of that, we also have 4 copies of the Flesh Gorger. You can just cast it for prototype for 3 if needed, and then later on hard cast it or through the fight rigging ability to have it as a 7/5 menace lifelink with a ward equal to paying life equal to its power. And of course, Titan of Industry, the best green card probably with this deck build. He has to enter the battlefield effects with good variants that you can benefit from. And that is the wrap up for the 22 creatures. Most probably are just very good card advantage and border advantage given. And for the battles that we've chosen from this, we have just a single copy of the Invasion of Vicoria. This is just a good situational card, but we can have this ability wherein you can pay X green to search the library for a non-human creature card and put it to the battlefield. So not only the library but also the graveyard. So searching for a Titan or a First Gorger, if any other Praetors needed on the matchup would really depend on that. But once you will be able to flip this battle, you will get the benefit of Zero Tora, Apex of Vicoria, an 8/8 reach dinosaur creature for each non-human creature you control. You may have the creature assign its combat damage though when it were block, so that's sort of a Thorn Elemental-ish effect, and we're able to close out games very quick by just this attack of an 8/8 reach creature. So in addition for that battle, we also have Invasion of Zendikar. So this is the sort of a ramp battle, kind of, because it enters the battlefield. You will search the berry for up to 2 basic lands. That's basically one forest, 1 swamp per se, and then put in the battlefield tap. But as long as you would be able to flip this, you can also have this one, Awakened Skyclave. This is a 4/4 Vigilance Haste. That's a good thing that is a haste. And as long as it's in the battlefield, it is a land in addition to other pipes. You can also make out by tapping mana to any color to ramp up to your other spells from your hand, or other your hard casting others good creatures per se after the combat. So that's for the battle. So in addition to the enchantments, we also have 2 copies of Azusa's Mini Dornis. You just have this one as an additional playland and also a life gain source. And in fact, you can become a 3/3 attacker if needed, and have these awesome abilities to untap up to 3 lands you control. Now for the choices again of the spot removals, we have Go for the Throat, 2 copies, and of course Soul Transfer. We're in an instance where you might be able to do both by exiling a target creature or planeswalker, and also returning target creature or planeswalker from graveyard to your hand. Now last but not the least is what Lisa ascended animist role in the deck. So what she does is that she is a 7 to cast completed kind of planeswalker, but its ability of +1, creating an XX green Prussian horror creature token, and where X is the loyalty, and also its ability to destroy regular artifact or enchantment. But the ultimate here, if ever you get to pull this one from the hideaway card, is that you can basically get the full benefit of this for a 7/7, -7 until a turn creature you control gets +1 for each forest you control and gain trample. So that's basically a walking overrun from the setup. If ever you get to have this kind of scenario, you can just basically win out of this one because of your typical large creatures. But the problem is that they won't have trample, so Nisa Ascended Enemies will be having that role to giving them, and having them +1 for each forest you control. So that's the build. The lands would be 24, but also having this fixing on channel lands also to help out with the utility of this deck. And also we also added a man land with the Mishra's Foundry on only 2 copies. That is, if also needed for additional attacker in the deck, you would have this option to do so, to activate them. So I guess that's basically it for this deck. I think you already received or encountered a similar one during your MTGO and MTG Arena daily grinds, now that this March of the Machine is legal to play. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this build. Any recommendations or suggestions is welcome, and we hope that we can also improve this and see this in actual gameplay as you would have to your MTGO and MTG Arena ranking setup. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for checking in on this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, for more of this kind of content and future videos, and see you guys on the next one.